Oh, welcome to our Radar Pounder.
Okay, no more sound effects. I'm sorry. It was silly to just keep doing that drawn out.
Well, after that, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Around the Pound. I am your host for this episode, James Phoenix. Doorbell. And this month, for the month of October, we're doing something very special here on Around the Pound. Rather than our normal news and catch up on what we had done that week, each week we're going to have a series of best or worst of awards. Today we're going to do our first 15 best of awards. Next week will be the same awards, but the worst of in those same categories. Then we'll do the following week 15 more best, and then the following week the 15 worst of those categories. So overall, you're going to get 30 best and 30 worst awards covering all media franchises, including television, movies, video games, comics, and whatever else we can think of.
Rick, will the answer always be Crazy Taxi?
Ha.
No, Stacy's not here.
I just wanted to throw back to our awards of Driving Simulator, Crazy Taxi.
Yep. Essentially, couldn't be here for these awards, but maybe we'll get her for one of the later viewings. But joining me, as per usual, for the Around the Pound are my co-hosts, Chris the Mole from the Mole,
Hello.
and Marcus Shadow from the Shadow's Maw.
Yo.
And our guest this week to join us, and while he does not have awards filled out, he will comment on our awards as we go through them, is the ever-present Richter Hammer, the Side Gamer.
Hello.
Indeed. So, basically, we're just going to kick this off. We're going to alternate who's going to introduce each of the categories for the awards. I'll start, and we'll go me, Mole, Marcus, and we'll just kind of go from there. So, what's that?
I added Bender Flexo Fry.
And Ben,
I did it really quick just because we need to keep doing that.
Yeah, I agree.
It would also it'd also be good to note that there are 30 awards in total, and we're doing a best and worst. So for this video, we're going to do the first 15 best, and then the next video is going to be the same first 15 worst, and then 15 best, 15 worst. There's going to be 4 videos in total for the month of October.
Fair enough.
What?
Thank you for the information, Marcus. Shall we? Did you want to begin, Jim?
Don't know why he's face
I don't
palming.
know. Is Marcus going to continue repeating all the things that I just said?
You didn't mention that.
Yes, I did. The first thing I said when we opened the video was we're doing something special this month. We're doing our best of. It's the first video of our best of awards. We're doing 15 best of. Next week will be the worst of those 15. Then the following week after that, 15 more best, and then the 15 worst of those categories. I literally spent the 5 minutes going through that whole thing.
Okay, I missed that part.
Now I know how Richter feels.
So do I. Like a sandwich. Is it wrong I'm making gropey hands as I say that? So do I, like a sandwich.
Yeah. You're a fat guy. You're allowed to grope sandwiches.
I like to caress them.
Fair enough. So anyway, like I was saying, we have our 15 categories we will start with, and these are across all media. So they could be from film, from TV, from comics, from video games, from whatever else we can come up with. And there's some unique categories. It's not just actor, actress. It's not like that. It's interesting categories, most of which Chris the Mole came up with, but Marcus and I threw some out there too. So we're going to go and start this out.
It'd be worthy of note to say also this is of all time, not just for this year.
Yeah, yes, these are of all time, so this will not be happening regularly.
Of all time.
No.
Of all time.
So these are in no particular order. These are just the order in which we came up with them, and in which Mole wrote them down on the list.
Some of them are in order.
Some of them? Okay, fair enough.
I mean, they're like related stuff is similar next to each other.
True. Yeah, they are grouped. So we're apparently going to open it up with our first. The first awards here are all awards for modes of travel.
Indeed.
The first award is Best Mode of Time Travel. Best method of time travel. And being a big fan of the franchise and owning the trilogy over there, I had to give it to the DeLorean Time Machine from Back to the Future. Because that thing was awesome, even though it kind of originally ran on plutonium, which is not easy to get. But it was still awesome. I mean, DeLoreans themselves are just awesome cars. The doors flip up. They have the bay doors, which is awesome, the wing doors. You know, they look really cool, and the way they made it look in the movie, the way they added the mechanics to it and the different things, and the fact that it could fly at one point, and they put it on railroad tracks, and all kinds of cool stuff like that. It was just an awesome method of time travel, because everybody in the 80s, and even watching things later, and even nowadays, even when, you know, going back and playing, like, the video games, my Telltale games and everything, you want to try the DeLorean Time Machine. It's badass.
The DeLorean is pretty badass.
Over to Mo, what did you give it to?
I gave it to Trunks' spaceship from Dragon Ball.
Nice.
And the reason I gave it to this is it's the only mode of transport ever for time travel that I could think of, at least, that didn't create some sort of a paradox or changing of history that would then result in some sort of paradox if you think about it logically. Because, for example, Trunks' spaceship works. He doesn't go to the past. He goes to the past of an alternate world that happens to be the same as his. So if he goes to the past and he changes, say, the Android saga, which essentially speaking means he doesn't need to then go back in time to stop this, it doesn't change the fact he came back to do it because he's from an alternate universe. Thus, I like that. I liked it because it made logical sense in terms of how they presented it. No real plot holes presented from it, so it's kind of cool. And it gives us the fan theory of Crisis of Infinite Trunks.
Ha! Nice.
Because there always has to be an infinite amount of trunks to fulfill this destination, because one of them always has to go back.
Yep. Fair enough. How about you, Marcus Shadow? What did you give it to?
I too gave it to the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Come on, it's a DeLorean that travels back in time.
Indeed.
It's awesome.
Indeed. Although, on behalf of sci-fi nerds everywhere, I think we're going to collectively give an honorable mention to the TARDIS. Just throwing it out there. Come on, boy, you're a Doctor Who fan. Come on.
I like the original TARDIS stuff. I don't like the new stuff.
Fair enough. I haven't watched any of it. I just know the TARDIS is a cool thing. Also, you know what? Second honorable mention to Bill and Ted's phone booth. Or Edge Christian's phone booth, if you prefer. Either way.
I'd also like to give an honorable mention to Starfleet.
To getting randomly tossed into a black hole and ending up randomly in the past? Okay.
I was thinking more of the fact that Captain Kirk came up with the slingshot maneuver.
Wouldn't it be kind of cool? Wouldn't it be kind of cool, or shouldn't we have, before we mentioned all the honorable awards, asked Rick in case he could have thought of some?
Rick, what do you think?
For time travel, I would give it to the Epoch from Chrono Trigger.
Ooh.
Yes! Oh, I didn't even think about that!
Because it, you know, like sometimes a time machine, it sits there. But, I should specify the one later in the game when that jerk that you fight puts wings on it. So you have a time machine that's also an airship. Oh, it's like everything. Yeah. If only it had an inn and a gambling thing, we wouldn't need another airship ever.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yes, that is an awesome time travel vehicle.
Fair enough. So, Mo, would you like to introduce the next award?
The next award is space travel. My award for space travel, technically it's cheating in a certain regard, as it doesn't really travel through space. I went with the Planet Express ship. It's a ship that's capable of traveling faster than the current speed of light. And the reason I say it doesn't technically travel through space, it's called a spaceship, so that should count as space travel. But the reason it doesn't technically travel through space is it moves by not by staying still and moving the universe around it. So it's more of a space mover. But it's still awesome. It's the Planet Express ship.
Nice.
Nice.
I just like the mechanic of moving everything around it to make it move. I was like, that's genius. I don't know why, that's funny.
That's pretty awesome.
That is. And I guess in keeping with the order, it goes to me.
Yes, Marcus Shadow, what is your method of space travel?
Well, I gave mine, and this should come as no surprise to Mr. Phoenix. I gave mine to the USS Enterprise D. Galaxy X variant.
Ooh, okay.
All good things to win, because not only is it my favorite starship ever, the Galaxy class starship, but it's Galaxy class warship, so it's got a giant ass cannon on the underbelly. I mean, how can you not like that?
That is badass. I gave it to the original Galaxy variant, the Enterprise D, primarily because as cool as the Enterprise All Good Things variant is, it violated Star Trek's own established laws of physics. So, yeah.
What, the warp beyond 10?
Yeah, it went to Warp 13, when theoretically, according to Gene Roddenberry's own notes from the show, which I own a copy of over there off screen, Warp 10 would theoretically place you in every location, every available space in the galaxy at once. It's not theoretically achievable. Now, granted, it's viable that they might have adjusted the warp scale. They've done that in the past, but still, they didn't explain that, and that kind of made it look like they weren't paying attention to their own damn rules. So,
I would say it's not possible at the time in which he wrote the notes based on the original series. However, as the technology evolves, stuff does get improved. For example, when they first made the train track, they put a fence either all around it to stop people looking, because they honestly believed if you travelled by train and you looked out at the sheer blurriness of everything going by at once, it would destroy your brain. Weird theory, but it's a true fact. I found that out. Which, yeah, clearly technology improved to the point where we don't need a train. We don't not a train. We don't need a fence by the train. So maybe technology's improved, so they found a way to contain the scattering.
maybe, yeah, they might have found a way to do it. It's either that, or more likely, because it's been mentioned, that sometimes they adjust the warp scale, because back in the days of Jonathan Archer, back in the pre-Kirk days, their ship went a maximum of warp 5 by their scale. But it was also noticed that when they adjusted the scale later, the warp 5 they were going by was actually closer to the warp 3 as it was known in Next Gen times. So they might have just changed the warp scale.
Possible. So, Richter.
So, Richter, how about you? Favorite methods of space travel?
I don't know. I can't think of a awesome one offhand. Like, there's a few I can think of, but
Saiyan space pod.
How about the SDF one?
I thought of that because that one is cool, but there's probably a cooler one. But I do like that one.
How about Antonio? Or not Antonio? What's his name? Ah, what the hell is his name? The wrestler,
Which one?
Mexican one, got fired.
Sin Cara.
Del Rio.
Da.
Basically, Del Rio. Why didn't you take that as favourite form of space travel when he knocked a coffee flying into space to make it stone cold?
Wow.
It would count.
But yes, opinions. Ohami one.
Of what was said, or you want me to try to come up with them? Oh, okay.
Of what was said.
Yeah, Enterprise D is awesome. But if you're going with a cannon on the bottom, I would think you'd go with the Yamato or something. But
Yeah.
Oh, you just got schooled.
He did.
That's what Rick do.
that's
That's a yo mama right there.
That is what Rick do. Fair enough. Marcus Shadow, would you like to introduce the third award?
Yes. Third award, ground travel. Things with wheels. And because there was too many to think of, I just went with the vehicle I thought, well, actually, quite honestly, like the most, the Batmobile. Any
Cool.
Batmobile, just the Batmobile. I don't care which one. The Batmobile is always awesome. Whether I think it's a good Batmobile or not, that's up for discussion. But they're always awesome vehicles.
Wish granted, Tumbler.
Hey, I like the Tumbler. I don't think it's a very good Batmobile, but I think it's an awesome vehicle.
Wish
I was
granted,
kidding.
Adam
I
West
like it.
convertible.
I was kidding. I liked the Tumbler. As in terms of being a vehicle, it was kind of cool. I just didn't like the rooftop scene. Where it's like, you're a fucking heavy tank going across the roof and only a tile falls off. I could go land on a roof and I'd go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like
Granted, I
that
may weigh more than a tank, but still.
Yeah.
because it's always versatile depending on who's portraying it. They have different gadgets and gizmos and things inside it, and it's always fast. It's like the fastest vehicle on the streets and stuff. So I like that. It's armored, really, so you can't really get hurt if you're inside it. So yeah, kind of covers all the bases.
Fair enough. Coming back over to me, we're going to go with the final method of travel here. We're going to go with the air travel. Well, I'm going to get my ground travel. Yeah, I got my ground travel. I skipped it, yes. My favorite mode of ground travel has wheels but doesn't usually use them. I went with a Megazord because it's technically traveling over ground. It counts.
To be fair,
Walking counts as ground travel.
yeah. To be fair, the method was ground travel. It didn't have to contain wheels.
Yeah, so I went with a Megazord because, come on, it's a giant robot. Come on, it's awesome.
Fair enough.
So, Megazord. Anyway, like I said, the next category will be the air travel method.
Oh,
How about
thanks.
Oh, we started with you. Right. Why do I keep trying to go to the next award? Damn it. Go ahead, Mo.
Yes,
You're validating more.
Stop.
This order is confusing me.
And
Go ahead.
Rick, but yeah, but my ground travel, I went with the Thunder Tank from the 2011 Thundercats because I like the original Thunder Tank. Don't get me wrong with that, but the new one was that one, and then they made it more badass later on, and then improved upon it, made like a big ass fucking tank, and it could do shitloads of stuff. It was just a great vehicle. Thunder Tank 2011.
Nice. Rick, your opinions on our choices and any favorite ground travels of your own?
Those are definitely pretty cool. Hell yeah, Thunder Tank. I think for mine, I would pick Kit because I always
That's a good call.
Which version?
probably the original '80s one.
Good man.
Yeah, come on. It's got to be
With
Mr.
Mr.
Feeney.
Feeney in it.
Yeah.
Honorable mention goes to Stephen Hawking.
Ah. Since we mentioned the other type of tank, I'm gonna, on behalf of Marcus Shadow, give an honorable mention to the Watchdog Spider Tank.
That was cool.
I'd give an honorable mention Inspector Gadget's car. I always liked that for some reason.
The Gadget-mobile, yeah, but not the shitty one in the movie that was voiced by Dale Hughley, the good one in the cartoon that turned into a police car.
Yeah, it was like part van, police car, and then like a normal car. Like it barely changed, and there was no reason for it, but it was cool.
No, in the cartoon, the van completely collapsed down in the police car. It was awesome.
It's
It
no
had a
spider
claw.
buggy.
Go.
I said it's no spider buggy.
That's true. The spider buggy's pretty cool too.
And I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't like the spider buggy.
I
It's
know.
just fun to say spider buggy.
It is fun to say spider buggy.
The Inspector
Also,
Gadget one was cool, but you may finally do your award.
I was gonna say, since we're throwing out honorable mentions for ground travel, I'd like to throw an honorable mention out to Optimus Prime.
Ha.
Come
Fair
on,
enough.
it's Optimus friggin' Prime.
Yes. Okay. So now you can finally get to the next award, and I'll try to stop skipping over things. The next award is for air travel. That's going to be pretty awesome. Best proposal of air travel. I give it to the Shield Helicarrier.
I was considering that.
Come on, it's a helicarrier. Or a boat into a helicarrier. It flies through the air. It hides in the clouds. It has a fucking cloaking technology. It's got Nick Fury and agents on it. It's badass. It's the helicarrier.
I also went with the helicarrier. However, I went with a slightly different helicarrier. Because I realized after I told you and Marcus helicarrier, I was like, someone's going to take that. So,
I didn't
added
remember you
next to
taking
it.
it. I didn't remember you telling him.
So afterwards, I took Superhero Squad version.
Ha! Nice.
Because it also includes some hilariously themed bedrooms.
Nice.
Which, yeah, I like the helicarrier. But I had to mention Superhero Squad, so I was like, I'll include that one because, yeah, like Thor has like an Asgardian looking bedroom and shit. It's just hilarious.
Nice. Gotta play that game.
The one I went with
It's
could
made
actually
for you.
qualify as space travel as well. And I think Richter will enjoy this one. I took the Valkyrie from Macross / Robotech. Because, come on, F-14 Tomcat that transforms into a giant robot. A.K.A. Jetfire from the Transformers. But yes, I was thinking about planes, and I was like, ooh, Valkyrie. Yes, I want a Valkyrie.
Fair enough.
Richter?
Yes, Hammer, your opinions.
Well, that's pretty much what I would go with, the Valkyrie / Veritech. Specifically Roy's one, because I don't know, I love that one. Just you put skull and crossbones on it, it looks totally cool. I just remember when I was like 5 or something seeing that, and I've like loved that one ever since. I don't know, it's just weird. But those are, yeah, Helicarrier is awesome because it's a floating base, so that's a really good pick. And of course, I agree with Marcus because I think I mean, it's a jet and a robot. It's like a transformer that's not a transformer. Yeah. Well, so is Rick Hunter's bicycle. But,
Starscream.
Starscream whines too much, though.
Armada Starscream.
Also, because he decided to log on and he's listening to us, I'd like to say, hi, Aeon.
Hi, Ann Ryder.
Hey, Aeon, and I will also say, just because we normally throw out at least one, I'm just going to say my one honourable mention, Tanuki Suit.
Ha! Tanuki suit.
And I'd like to throw an honorable mention, the Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
You just jump on his back and just go.
Well, if you're gonna
No,
go,
he just pulls you along with his power ring.
Well, if you're gonna go Tanuki suit, I'll throw an honorable mention out to the Cape.
Yay!
The cancelled TV show?
Ha!
Ha!
Funny.
Boom! It got mentioned in a podcast.
Nice.
It would have been better if it had more Keith David.
Then it would still be on.
But
Yes, back over to Mole for the next award.
yep, I went with Hidden Base. And in case you're wondering, this is a base and it's hidden. So yeah. Sorry, everyone else feels the need to clarify their award. Hidden Base. It's a base and it's hidden. I went with Tracy Island from Thunderbirds because it's a fucking island, which is awesome. And then the island opens up, similar to like the X-Men school, and then it launches like a fucking rocket, it launches like a fucking plane, it can spit out another one. It's just awesome. The way it opens up, and that was in a great fucking playset and toy to use as a kid as well. I had one of them. That was fucking awesome. And like you get to fit in all the different Thunderbirds. It's a great island, and it's a great hidden base, even though it's not technically hidden. But it is hidden because of all the secret places where the Thunderbirds emerge from. So I count it Hidden Island, Hidden Base, Tracy Island. Over to Marcus.
You know, it's funny you mentioned the X-Men school. Because I gave mine to Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. Because, come on, high-tech base located beneath a Victoria-era mansion. How is that not awesome? And then their basketball court flips over or opens up to reveal the hangar for the X-Jet. I mean, come on, that is a badass base.
It is a badass base. The only weakness to that would be if anyone ever discovers it, it leads to the mass genocide of a shitload of children.
Yeah, but nobody can get down there into the base. I mean, yeah, no one even knows it's there, and they can't get into it without, like Xavier's eyeball.
I'm pretty sure Magneto does, and he could just rip the doors off.
Well, Magneto can get in there because he built the fucking place.
Like I said, I was kidding. That is a great hidden base, and to be fair, it is also disguised to the general public. It just looks like an extra school in case they see any weird shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that Xavier's school.
Very good.
Over to Jim.
Fair enough. See, I like how you two interesting. You went with the more the techie type base. You went with the more it's a fancy underground base. Whatever. I went with something a little more interesting in terms of a hidden base, quote unquote. Marcus, correct me if you don't think this applies, but I was thinking about what is the best hidden base you could possibly have? Something that what would you need for a good hidden base? What is it? What is it that makes a hidden base useful and popular? Right, Marcus? Mm-hmm. Tell me, what's a better hidden base than a room that turns into whatever you want?
The room of requirement?
Room of requirement. Yeah, from Harry Potter.
That's clever. I like that.
Walk in front of it 3 times and literally, okay, what do you need? Place to hide shit? Here's a room full of junk to hide things in, like a freaking Horcrux. You need a room to hide some students that are getting tortured by Death Eaters that got put in charge and they need to hide out. Here you go. We'll even form some nice bathrooms. Here's some house tapestries, whatever you need. Can't make food because that's against the elemental laws of magic, but hey, it's still badass.
You need to get laid? Here's a rape room.
Yeah, pretty much. Whatever you want. Walk by it 3 times and imagine it, and the room shall become it.
Yep.
So, room requirement in Hogwarts. Over to Marcus for the next award.
I can approve of that.
Oh, first Richter. Richter, what do you have any ideas?
For me, I can't think of any specific ones, but I always liked hidden bases that were behind waterfalls. I don't know why. Like it's so cliche, but for some reason I like when an entrance is behind a waterfall.
Batcave.
Wind Academy.
Batcave is a pretty good.
The Rise.
Yeah, exactly. The headquarters of the Power Rangers, the Rise.
Yes, Aeon has said to me his pick would have been Tommy's basement in Dino Thunder.
That was cool.
Nice.
I can agree with that. Also, honorable mention Lightspeed Aqua Base.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was considering that in the Batcave, and then I thought of... Oh,
I was also considering the Batcave.
Yes, so, award number 6, Weapon. Self-explanatory. And I had a couple different ones I was going to choose.
Chuck
I ended up going... What's that?
Chuck Norris's foot.
Yeah, Chuck Norris. No.
Yeah, just Chuck
I ended up
Norris.
going
Yeah.
with Green Lantern's power ring.
Nice.
Come on, you're only limited by your thought. So, yeah, if you give it to, like, Stacy, it's completely useless. But still.
She might be listening to it. Fuck you.
But no, I mean, literally, as long as you keep thinking about it and as long as you don't break down, you basically can't be killed. Which I think is awesome, and you can create anything you can think of.
Or depending on your incarnation.
Concentrating. Poor Jim.
Yeah. Or depending on your incarnation, unless you run into yellow and or wood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was thinking about it, and I was like, given how his powers work now, how Marvel's completely fucked his powers in the ass, imagine taking the Green Lantern power ring and giving it to Wolverine.
Now, here's a question for you, Jim, hypothetically speaking.
Okay.
If I was to wear a power ring, and I was to, based on my mind, imagine, like, the greatest porno ever and create it in front of me, and then I get hard, would I then lose my powers because I have wood?
Ha.
Ha! If you had Alan Scott's power ring, maybe. But no, seriously, I mean, because Wolverine's powers now work on the principle of he's as invulnerable as he thinks he is. It's like, okay, so then give him a weapon that works on will, on what he's thinking. He's already trained to think like that and to be able to focus his will. He'd be even more unstoppable with that power ring.
Yep.
Fair enough. That's a good
Moving
choice.
on to Mr. Phoenix.
Indeed. Think about awesome weapons and things that people have used in the past. Just because it's both unique and iconic, I had to go with a Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts because it's a giant key. You can wield it like a sword. It has magic powers. It can turn into anything depending on what world you're in. It unlocks hearts. It unlocks darkness. It unlocks light. It's a Keyblade. It's awesome. Granted, there's way too fucking many of them at this point in the franchise, but it's still cool.
Nice.
Fair enough.
I went with lightsaber, but specifically Ventress's lightsaber.
Ooh.
The one with the interlocking hilt. Oh, that's a thing.
Yeah.
It's dual lightsabers that you join together at the hilt into one single weapon, either by locking mechanism, and then you get the double-bladed lightsaber. So it's Darth Maul, but then boom, split in half, Dooku's. It's like it's such a thing of beauty.
Nice.
Nice. Rictor.
Ooh, once I learned a while ago, this was of course many years ago, but how the Green Lantern's ring worked, that is a very awesome weapon. So is a lightsaber. Oh crap. I don't know, but okay, one that's it's not like the greatest ever, but one I think that's really cool is if anyone has seen the anime Flame of Recca, there's this little crappy kid who has it kind of looks like a sword with a bit or like a big knife with a goofy handle, but it can transform into like 6 different forms.
Nice.
Like it has like a chain hidden in it, so it could be like a Kasarigami. It could be a bow and arrow. It could be a giant pair of scissors, which is goofy, but still, it's cool that it just can turn into so many forms.
Nice. I'm surprised you didn't say mech suit.
That is a cool one. I can't think of a specific one, but
All the mech suits.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think probably my favorite mech suit is the from Bubblegum Crisis, the Double DJ one. Battle
There you
that
go.
was really cool.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
Nice.
Mhm.
Really,
Also,
I
if
thought
he's
you would've
listening-
said RX-78.
Ah,
Yeah. Well, I mean that's classic, but it's not my favorite Gundam.
fair enough.
So, over to Jim.
Yeah, I'd like to quickly give an honorable mention on that one. If our good friend QJ over there is listening, QJ of Vaudeville, if you listen to his music, of hopefully reviews at some point here. I want to give an honorable mention to the original Rad Mondays Maglite. Because
Nice.
nobody but me has read that story. But basically, it was a giant Maglite, and he could basically like split it apart and convert it, and he pulled chains out of it, and it did pretty much anything he needed to do. It was kind of a god-modded weapon, but it was cool.
Honorable mention for a similar thing to Felix's bag.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'd also like to throw out a couple of honorable mentions. One that I was actually thinking of using before I came up with the Power Ring. I was debating between this and the Power Ring, and I'd like to give it to Wolverine's Adamantium Claws.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The other one I want to give an honorable mention to, and it's just partly because I was thinking of something like this, but also because Aeon is listening now. I want to give it to the Gabu Revolver from Kyoryuger because A, it's a big futuristic laser gun, and B, it also is a morpher, so it allows you to morph into a ranger.
That is cool.
I thought you were going to say Dragon Dagger. Cool.
Fair enough. Oh,
And
the-
honorable
if we're-
mention on weapons. Honorable mention to on weapons. Moppy.
Moppy.
Yes!
Yeah. Other honorable mention to Head.
There you go.
Also, I'd like to throw an honorable mention out
Wow.
to Jack's gun from the Jackster series, not the
Yes.
gun tab because that's piece of crap, but Jack's gun that had 4 firing modes, 3 adjustable options on each firing mode, and it could do pretty much anything. It was pretty awesome.
Fair enough.
Um,
Over to your award.
You need.
The last one I was just thinking, I want to throw this out just because you can't do this without giving it to the original.
God damn it, Marcus Shadow, ruining
well.
our video.
Oh well, go to your review. Go to your award.
Indeed. We're gonna move on without Marcus Shadow.
I would just like to say Ring of Power.
Okay, can we just do one honorable mention so those of us on the time limit don't get wasted?
I think getting wasted would make this more tolerable. Anyway. Let's see, the next award, let's see.
Sorry about that.
Fair enough. Is it me introducing this award?
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, but just to clarify what I was saying when I ran off to go answer the phone really quick, the Ring of Power from Lord of the Rings. I mean, come on, the One Ring.
Yeah.
Original
okay.
weapon of mass destruction. But anyway,
I thought
continue.
the original weapon of mass destruction was called religion.
This is true.
Nice.
Fair enough. So, the next award is for the best science to regular guy exclamation. What that means is best instance in which somebody who is a character who is incredibly smart said something in sciencey technobabble, and then either that same person or someone else translated it into English for the benefit of the audience and the other characters.
Or Japanese if it's an anime.
Mm-hmm. So, I had trouble thinking about this, trying to come up with a good one that I really liked that I wanted to use, and I'm unable to find the actual quote to actually get the details of exactly what it was that he said. But this one always just made me laugh, and it was the first thing that popped into my head, and it always made me laugh, this part. And near the end of the movie Men in Black, where they're chasing down the evil bug alien, and they pull up in this field, and the evil bug is taken off in the stolen spaceship from the World's Fair. And Tommy Lee Jones opens the trunk of the car, and they pull out these big ass guns. And Tommy Lee Jones starts spouting off settings on the gun, like put on the a 77 micro this, and then he goes on for like several minutes, and Will Smith just looks at him and he goes, "Just shoot the damn thing on 3. 1, 2, 3," poof, and they fire. That just always made me laugh.
Nice.
So yeah, I go to Tommy Lee Jones just ignoring his own technobabble about the fancy gun. That was great. Mo.
I went with the one I mentioned some of these two different people as we recorded, by the way, but in case people are wondering, but I went with the only one that seemed to make sense for this, and that is one simple sentence. That's a big Twinkie. Ghostbusters. Thank you.
Yes.
Nice.
Hang on. Where's the conversation?
I went with one that I mentioned to you guys also way earlier when we were talking. And I went with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze, Michelangelo, where the doctor's like, "I'm afraid ingestion is the only way." And they're like, ingestion, yeah. Mikey looks up, "You mean they have to eat it?" I thought that was great. It's like Michelangelo is the one that understands that particular one because he knows ingestion because he eats a lot.
Pizza!
Richter.
I can't think of a specific one, but I know that there's probably one where someone's like explaining like a bomb or something, and they're just like, "Oh, so that's the part that makes it go boom," and the other person's probably like, "Yes, that's what makes it go boom," or something like that. I know
sure
that there's
somebody said
something
that
like
at some point.
Yeah, I know I've heard ones like that, but I can't think of where they were. Sorry.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Honorable mention to anything said by Billy
hold
Crystal in
on.
season 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
God damn it, Jim. I was trying to tell you to hold on a minute because Aeon actually said that. What the inspiration was for this award, which was Billy and Trini.
Fair enough.
So way to jump the gun.
I'm going to say that was not the inspiration for this award, because this is the one I came with, and my inspiration was That's a Big Twinkie from Ghostbusters.
Okay, because I thought that was the inspiration. Because when we asked you, I remember when we asked you to clarify what the award was. That was the example you gave, and we said, "Oh, okay, fair enough."
No, my example was when anyone talks science-y and someone then basically makes it understandable. Example, That's a Big Twinkie, which is
Fair
totally
enough.
what I'm going to take for this award.
Fair enough. But yes, that's Aeon's pick. It's Billy and Trini.
Also honorable mention to every plan in Star Trek the original series.
You only get one honorable mention.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough.
So,
Moving
moving
on.
on to the next award, Mo.
I thought I gave that one. So it'd be Marcus.
Did you? No, I'm the one that gave best science to regular guy explanation.
Fair enough. I thought I gave that one. Fair enough.
No, that was me.
Then it's I'm getting too old for this shit. AKA seeing an older person come back to a role. I went with Rocky Balboa from the movie Rocky Balboa, which was all about Rocky Balboa. No, she wasn't in Rocky Balboa. She was dead.
I know.
It was great though, because you kind of expected, okay, it's just going to be a rehash of Rocky 4 and 3 and stuff, but no, they actually gave you more story there, and I liked that because it's like there was more heart behind that. It wasn't just a case of a cheap cash-in of let's just make like every Rocky film. There actually felt to be a real story there and a real connection. Like you actually felt sympathy for him, and like the scene where he's at Adrian's grave, it was actually really sad, and it's like that was just really well done, Rocky Balboa.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. I gave mine to Jason David and Frank as Tommy Oliver and Dino Thunder because I thought that was well done, unexpected, and honestly, when I first saw it, I did not expect him to become a Ranger again. When they said he's going to be the mentor, I was like, cool, he's going to kind of mentor these kids and kind of lead the team from back going to be the Zordon, and then boom, Black Ranger. I'm like, wait, what?
Man, my closet has a serious shortage of black. I'm going to have to go shopping.
Yep.
I may be old, but I can still pull it off.
Is that your honorable mention?
That was a quote from it.
Yeah, that's what Tommy said when he first got the the powers.
Okay,
Elsa's
I
like,
thought-
"Aren't you
I
getting
thought-
too
I
old for
thought-
this, Tommy?"
I thought that was the Adam Wants a Ranger quote.
No.
No,
Fair
that was it's old school, but it still gets the job done
That's
or
the
something
one.
like
Okay, thank you. I got them confused.
Yeah. And you're the Power Ranger guy? For shame. For shame. Anyway, moving on.
to Jim.
Indeed. I don't know if this one counts because I was thinking about it. I'm not sure this counts only because technically he never left the role, but kept coming back to it. For even through massive changes to the franchise and the films as they went. So, given the legacy of the role, and given the fact that he actually says something to the effect of "I'm getting too old for this," I've got to give it to Desmond Ewan for playing Q in 17 James Bond movies over 35 years.
Fair enough.
Because I'm sorry, that's a long time to be in a role, and the fact that he kept coming back, and near the end, near the Pierce Brosnan Bond movies, he even was quoted as saying, "I'm getting too old for this."
And it's
fair
Desmond Llewellyn. That's how you say his last name.
Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. Thank you.
Over to Rick.
Yes, Richter, what do you think?
At least one that I can remember offhand that I thought was really good. I don't know if this exactly counts, but it's probably the only good part of New Who. But they had the one episode where he teamed up with the other doctors, and at the end, oh yeah, spoilers. And at the end, he's in a museum, and the curator there is Tom Baker.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was cool. They had a little scene there that I thought was pretty neat.
See, I thought for this one you would have gone with when you joined in the father-son relay race at Sportsville.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
So then it's over to me for
It's over
Ward
to you for
number
the
9.
Ward, Dr. Shadow.
Yes, transfer of power.
Mhm.
Or changing of the guard. Basically, someone taking over the powers of someone else or the mantle of someone else.
Mhm.
And I gave mine to Johnny Bosch as Adam, replacing Walter Jones as Zack, as the Mastodon Ranger, the Black Mastodon Ranger, and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Fair enough.
Because Adam is awesome. Don't get me wrong, I like Zack, but Adam is awesome. And as Mole said previously, Adam is my favorite Ranger of all time.
Thank you.
All the times.
All time. Okay, I guess it's me.
Mm-hmm.
This one I always really liked, and it was one of my favorite shows growing up. And when this happened, I thought it was really awesome that they did it the way they did. Props to the Japanese for doing it first before it got dubbed over here. But I gave it to the Season 2 premiere of Digimon Digital Monsters. Because in the premiere, we meet, of course, TK and Kyrie remain on the team, having grown up and are now the age that the rest of their friends in the DigiDestined were in the first season. So they stay on board on the team. And we bring in some new members, including Cody, Yoli, and the new leader, whose name is Davis.
Freaking Davis.
His name is Davis. Anyway, you see them go on in their first adventure in the digital world and get their partner Digimon. And you see Davis gets his goggles broken in the fight. He has goggles. And that was kind of a thing. And at the end of the episode, when they kind of meet with the original DigiDestined, who basically say, we're totally comfortable with this idea, but all right, you guys are going to, the new DigiDestined now. It's your job to protect the digital world. And noticing the broken goggles, the leader from the first season, Ty, takes his goggles off. The goggles having been the thing that denoted the DigiDestined leader in all the seasons of Digimon that there's ever been. He takes his goggles off and he gives them to Davis and says, "Here, why don't you take these? After all, what would the leader of the DigiDestined be without the goggles?" Or something to that general effect. And Davis puts the goggles on. I'm like, okay, that's badass. So the new DigiDestined, even though the old guys still popped in now and again in the second season, it was still awesome to establish that new team and to kind of pass it off that way. I thought it was really cool.
Nice. And I did check, and we said this one counted. I also, ironically, went with the same person that Marcus Shadow went with in a different role. I went with Ichigo Kurosaki. Because in the first episode of Bleach, Rukia Kruchki, as she's called, the Soul Reaper of the series, basically, she comes down and she's helping him with the Hollow as it's attacking. And long story short, she gets injured, and the only way to save it is she transfers her power to Ichigo. thus making him a substitute Soul Reaper. Ichigo.
Nice.
And thus launching the entire Bleach saga, which I like Bleach.
Nice.
And since we do one, honorable mention would be Midnight Society. Are You Afraid of the Dark? When the little kid from the first series comes back and brings his friends.
There you go.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Fair enough. Richter.
I don't know if it's the best, but one I could think of offhand was in Rurouni Kenshin when he learns the succession technique, because his master is freaking cool, and it's like where he becomes the master basically when he learns that technique and uses it against him.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And it's not as cool as the all-powerful 9-hitter or whatever it was called, but that's still a really awesome technique.
You mean the technique of move faster than your opponent?
Yeah, the like move super fast. And, yeah.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. So is it back around to me for the next award?
Yes.
All right. The next award is a favorite actor replacement. A favorite instance in which an actor, performer, what have you, was replaced with another one for whatever reason. Whether that might be somebody leaving the role, somebody passing away, whatever have you. Changing the character, whatever. And I had trouble picking just one out of this, so I kind of went with a colloquial, and basically anytime Jim Cummings has ever replaced anyone in voice work. Because, quite frankly, you can never tell the damn difference. The dude is spot on no matter who he's doing an impression of. The two instances that come to mind are when he provided Christopher Lloyd's singing voice as the character Rasputin in the movie Anastasia. And again, of course, the one of the most well-known was when Jim Cummings, who voices Ed the Hyena in The Lion King, had to step in and finish singing the hit song Be Prepared, performed by Jeremy Irons as Scar, because upon hitting that iconic line, "You won't get a sniff without me," Jeremy Irons blew out his damn vocal cords and couldn't finish the song. And Jim Cummings stepped in and matched Irons' voice perfectly and finished the song to the point that most people don't know that Jim Cummings actually sang a good chunk of that song. So Jim Cummings replacing anybody because of how good he is at it and people not knowing about it.
True. I would like to chime in really quick. For the previous one, the Transfer of Power, Aeon says when Jack made Sky the Red Ranger after he bailed on SPD at the end. Then the one-off, too, when he let him to use his power for one episode.
That was good. That's true. That was good. That was good.
Cool.
But yes, Mo, your favorite actor replacement?
I went with Mark Ruffalo as Dr. Bruce Banner, replacing Edward Norton from the Incredible Hulk film. While I thought Edward Norton did do a good job, I just really liked Mark Ruffalo in that role in the Avengers film. I thought he did a great job as that version of Bruce, of the Bruce that's now mastered the technique of the Hulk and has that a little bit of the arrogant edge Bruce gets when he is able to control her, but with enough self-consciousness that he doesn't want it to come out. He really doesn't like Hulk. I thought he did a good job.
Well, I should have mentioned him earlier as an inversion of the science talk to regular talk trope where Robert Downey Jr. walked in and starts science talking, and the Banner starts out science talking him instead of explaining it. That was pretty awesome. Like, finally, someone who speaks English.
Nice.
Anyway, Marcus Shadow, your
So-
favorite actor replacement.
Mine is probably going to surprise some people.
Okay.
I went with Troy Baker replacing Mark Hamill as the Joker in Arkham Origins.
All right.
Despite the fact Joker should not have been in Arkham Origins, Troy Baker did an awesome job. I still say Mark Hamill is my favorite Joker, hands down, of all time. But Troy Baker did a really, really good job, and I approve of that replacement. Because they wanted to portray a different Joker, more younger Joker. I was like, okay, that works.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Richard Hammer, how about you? Any times the favorite times that actors were replaced?
I don't know. I do like moles. Mark Ruffalo. That is a good one. I don't know. I can't think of one offhand.
Fair enough.
I mean, there's a couple like easier answers, but
Fair enough.
Samuel Jackson replacing David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
The Rock replacing him in Baywatch. No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
If we're going to do an honorable mention, did anyone have any?
I don't have one. You can go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say I can't remember the actor's name, but the dude that did the voice of Marty in Back to the Future for Telltale.
AJ Lascazio. Good call. Yes.
Because he sounded more like Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd sounded like Christopher Lloyd.
He did. And Michael J. Fox picked him out personally to do that role too.
Yeah, he did a great job. I like that.
He was awesome.
Fair enough.
Why haven't they made another game yet? But anyway, the next award.
Next award is the Extra Guy. This is someone who, when he's joined someone, has changed the dynamic in a way which we think is pretty good. Like someone joining a team or someone just joining one other person changes it, or you know what I mean. So it's that basically.
Mm-hmm.
And mine comes from the world of professional wrestling, brother. Because I went with Hulk Hogan joining the Outsiders to make the NWO for life.
Nice.
Fair enough.
Over to Marcus.
All right. Well, mine comes from the land of the rising sun, and I think.
Of course it does. You come from the land of the rising sun.
No, I don't. You racist pig.
Yeah, you racist pig. He's clearly Korean.
Thank you.
See, I got your back.
Anyway, I think Aeon will get a kick out of this one. I chose Rio, the Black Lion Ranger from Geki Ranger, because I haven't actually seen the series of Geki Ranger. I saw like the movies and stuff, so I've seen him do stuff. But for most of the series, he is the villain. But when he eventually joins the other Rangers and kind of becomes good, he becomes not a villain. I love his reasoning for doing what he does, and it's not because he believes in the goodness or he's there to help them. He's like, no, I'm here because I hate them and I hate what they're doing, so yeah, I'm gonna go kick their asses instead.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's awesome.
Cool.
Nice. Richter.
What about you?
Oh. Yeah, I should probably do mine. Now I'm trying to over-validate Richter. Anyway.
You still have a long way to go to make up for it, buddy.
Fair
Richter says, don't be afraid to get your knees a little dirty.
enough. Anyway. I had an interesting one. Because mine was someone who was added to a team, but I guess being added to the team was a really bad thing and it didn't end well, but it taught the team a lesson and it was really well done. So it's positive in that light, even though the results of being added to the team were not positive.
Okay.
And I went with David from Animorphs, which probably nobody here has read but me.
That is an awesome TV show. Now on Netflix.
The books are better. Anyway, they never got to the point of doing this particular line in the show, unfortunately, this plot line. But basically, in the story, this is about midway through the series or so, there are 5 primary Animorphs: Jake, Rachel, Cassie, Marco, and Tobias. And basically, they decide at this point in the series, after having fought off the alien Yeerk invasion for quite a while now, that they need another Animorph. That they would be stronger if they add another Animorph, which they have recently regained the ability to do, having or they had it, but they didn't really use it. But they have basically the device that was used to give them their powers, which is the ability to transform into any animal that they can touch. They can acquire the DNA and they become that animal at any time. That's their power to fight off the aliens. And they decide they want to add another Animorph. And they find a guy, they of course, being that they have to make sure the person they're hiring is not one of the evil, possessed by one of the alien Yeerk slugs in their brain, because that's how the Yeerks work. They hide in your brain and they act like a normal person, so you don't know who's a Yeerk controller and who's not. So they try to screen people out to find somebody, and they find a guy named David, who they take aboard after the Yeerks basically capture and turn his parents into controllers in a very public fight in an apartment complex, because they have some information that's important about their being exposed or whatever. And so David is left as an orphan with no parents. And so his house gets destroyed. The Yeerks know who he is and they want him because they already have his parents. So they're going after him. So he's kind of alone, and there's really nowhere safe because any orphanage or anything could be controlled by the Yeerks. So the Animorphs basically left without much of a choice. They say, okay, we need to take this guy. He's going to have to be our sixth Animorph. We don't have a choice. We'll try to hide him for now. We can hide him. They like to meet in the one girl, Cassie, her parents own a farm, so they meet in her barn a lot. So we can hide him there for now, maybe in the woods over where our alien ally that's part of our team likes to hide, stuff like that. So they try to hide him around. They make him the next Animorph. And they give him the powers to change into animals. He chooses a lion as his primary morph for battling and whatnot. And this plotline goes on for a couple of books. And basically, it doesn't end well. David goes completely ass-fucking evil, nearly betrays them, nearly gets them all killed. And just goes completely fucking psycho, and it's not good. He goes completely just gone after all of my parents and everything else. And he tries to kill them. And eventually, because the Animorphs, they're not going to kill an innocent kid as much as they do. They try not to harm the humans that are controlled by the Yeerks either. So they manage to they trick him into morphing into a rat, and they turn him into what's referred to as a Nothlit, which is basically if you stay turned into an animal for more than 2 hours, you're stuck as that animal forever. So they turn him into a rat Nothlit, manage to contain him and force him to stay that way for 2 hours so that he stays permanently that way because it's the only way to get rid of him and save the team. It's one of the best storylines in the entire 54-plus books of Animorphs. It's one of the really darkest storylines, and it shows why the Animorphs have such problem trusting anybody because one of the few times they did, this is what happened. It's dark, it's really well written, it's really good, and it helps both show the Animorphs that, yeah, they are this team of 5 and 6 if you count their alien friend, and that's what they have to be. Because that's all they can trust. They can't trust anybody because anybody could turn on them or be a Yeerk or anything. And even the people that are normal humans, this is the kind of shit that can happen. This is what can happen to almost destroy the team. They can get killed. They can almost get taken out even from within. And it was just a big wake-up call to both the Animorphs and the readers that, everybody was saying, well, why don't they have the cube that could give the power? Why don't they make more Animorphs? Why don't they make more Animorphs? Well, this is why they don't make more Animorphs. It was awesome. I love that storyline. So that was mine.
Nice. Rick?
Okay, for mine, I would go with Flan in the original Disgaea game. Because, granted, you get her pretty early, but, I mean, this is, they're in the underworld or hell or netherworld, whatever you want to call it, and they get an angel trainee join their group, and, they're stereotypical demons. They're all evil and whatnot, and then she always preaches about love and kindness and stuff. And it's funny because they're, it doesn't so much change most of the other characters, but the main character Laharl, he really changes from that experience. So I think it was not only is the story really good, but you can see growth of the character in that game. So I would go with Flan being added.
Fair enough.
Nice. Honorable mention: Spike and Buffy.
Yes, Spike.
I'm sorry, Spike's becoming a good guy was kind of awesome. That's why I gave it an honorable mention, just because the way they do it, the government puts a chip in his head so he can't hurt humans. Then the second he realizes he can hurt demons, he's like, yeah, I'm now on your side. Come on, I want to save a puppy. Come on, I want to go save the world. And he does it just for the simple reason he wants to punch something. And it's like, that's wonderful. He's clearly full of shit when he's talking about wanting to save the world. And you know it, and that's why it's wonderful. You get a sense of, this guy just wants to hit a demon. It's cool. And obviously, eventually becomes a great love interest for Buffy, gets a soul, and redeems himself. So awesome.
There you go.
And to that end, I'd also like to give an honorable mention to Cole from Charmed. Because, come on, that was fucking awesome. Of course, once they turned him, then, yeah. But at the point he turned good, it was like, yes.
I'm not going to spoil it, but I will say Cole is on my list for one of the awards next month. Well, next week.
Oh,
fair enough. Oh, no.
Mainly because of, like you said, when they turned him, they ruined him.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Which is interesting because that led to both versions of him being in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royal. But they put them both versions of Dante.
Nice.
I guess that's over to me.
Indeed, Mark.
12. Deal with the devil. Both literally and figuratively.
Please allow me to introduce myself. Sorry.
Now this one For my favorite one, I had a tough time coming up with one, but I think I settled on a pretty good one.
New Day.
I decided to go with Spawn. Because, come on, the deal is, you bring me back to life, you give me superpowers, so I can turn around and use them against you. I mean, that's an awesome deal if you ask me. And
Nice.
for whatever reason, the devil can't take the powers away, so I'm just like, that's even better.
Mhm.
I mean, I haven't actually read the comics or anything, so I don't know why the devil can't take the powers away, but apparently he can't, or he would have in issue 1.
Same reason he can't take away Ghost Rider's powers.
Fair enough. What's Jim's?
My deal with the devil, and Mole may agree with me on this. I don't know, depending on what direction he's going with this award. But when I thought about it, think about the things I've seen with deals with the devil, a lot of them are cliche and stereotypical, and they're okay, they're not that good. But I think generally it can be agreed that in all of media, there is no greater deal with the devil than the devil and Homer Simpson.
Yes, that is the one I said to you.
I knew I was thinking of it anyway. But yeah, it's just so well done. It turns it on its head, and it's hilarious. And for a donut, it's just great. And then, he doesn't eat the whole donut, but no, then he ate it anyway. Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
I love that
And
one.
Flanders as the devil is just awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, I love that one because it's just filled with hilarious moments. Like, you are not smarter than me. It gave us Donut Head Homer, which is
Yes.
fucking hilarious. And I just loved the idea of when they went to court and all those fucking fictional people, all they're not fictional, all the dead people who are supposed to be there for except for one of them, and they're all there for the thing. It turns out they all agree in favor of Homer because he clearly stated when he got married he gives his soul to Marge. It's like, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I am so smart. S-M-R-T. I mean, S-M-A-R-T.
On to the Mole.
Indeed.
No, I believe it's on to Jim.
Jim, oh, you took the same thing. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, we did the same thing. Well, how about on to Rick?
Okay.
Stop invalidating Richter.
Does it have to be strictly with the devil or just something similar?
No, I said
Something
literally and figuratively, or figuratively.
Okay.
So
Then
literally, or like totally not sort of, kind of, but totally like almost literally?
I would then off the top of my head, I would go with I don't know if it's a deal, but when Q gave Riker Q powers for like 35 minutes.
Nice.
That was good. That was good.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'd also like to give an honorable mention to Kenny and Satan from South Park.
Yes.
'Cause that was awesome.
That was good. That was good.
I'd also like to give a honorable mention to Johnny.
Hmm?
The devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul.
Hell the steal. I was going to make a deal. That was good. That was good.
Tribute.
And I'd like to give my honorable mention to the night that Stone Cold Steve Austin allied with Vince McMahon, even though nobody bought it for a second.
Nice.
Also, Aeon has said Captain Mitchell and Diabolico from Lightspeed Rescue.
Yes, that was a good one. That's good.
Nice.
That was a
Good
good one,
choice.
yeah.
Good choice. Okay, so I think we're back around to me for the next award, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Alrighty. The next award, pretty self-explanatory. It's Best Death, which sounds kind of morbid, but mostly means death in the way that is most impactful or most well orchestrated. Yeah.
Yep, best death. Did you also take Helen Geller?
Ouch.
sorry. That's maybe not cool. But it's okay. I don't think she watches our stuff.
I shouldn't laugh, but I'm going to.
Wow.
We're all gonna go to hell when we die. Or we're all gonna go to hell when we die. I can't sit up. There we go. Anyway.
Welcome to my world when I sit in a beanbag chair.
Okay. So thinking in my mind in terms of ones that were impactful and meaningful that I remembered from the course of my life, things that really stuck out to me. I think one of the obvious ones that impacted everybody, I think everybody of my generation, and probably still kids to this day, I went with the death of Mufasa in The Lion King. Because that was fucking heartbreaking. I'm sorry. You see, he's
enough.
falling in there, saying, "But no, Dad." He's that's so sad.
It was heartbreaking.
Sorry, I had to do that.
Yeah.
Just one, at least once.
Yep. So that was, yeah, that was sad. But it was very impactful. It set up Simba for the rest of the movie, and I think the fact that seeing a good character outright killed in a Disney movie hadn't happened before, and hasn't happened very often since. So
What
it just
about
it was
Bambi's mother?
true. Like I said, it hadn't happened often before. But yeah, it was kind of a big deal, and it really had an impact on a lot of kids of that generation seeing that. I think
What about all the
happened overcome
lemmings
that.
they drove the truck at?
Ha!
That had to be mentioned.
Fair enough.
And while I have the mic, I would just like to. This was, I don't really remember this of my time. I think this was a little before my time. Jeff and Richter might be able to attest as to when this happened, because I remember it happening, but I don't remember it being like my actually seeing it addressed on TV and habit. So I think it was a little before. Yeah, see, it was okay. It was a few years before I was born, so I wasn't around for it. But I remember always having heard about it and always kind of being a deal. Maybe you two might remember it a little more clearly if you were. You would. If you would know right around your time. I want to go on and mention to the death of Mr. Hooper on Sesame Street, because while it was a real death, they also had to account for the death of the character as a result, and it was kind of a very emotional thing having to explain to the kids, why Mr. Hooper wasn't there anymore, and how to, kids to deal with that both on the show and at home. So that was kind of, I always thought that was very well done from the perspective of what had to be done for that, and kind of bringing, being able to explain death to kids. That was always very meaningful and very well done.
Fair enough. I don't know how we're going to follow that up.
By
Sorry.
doing the polar opposite.
Exactly. Hit it, Mole.
Who can try?
I didn't go for the sympathetic shit, because I could have, Obi-Wan's death or stuff, but no. I went with simply the awesomeness of the death. Final Destination 5. A girl who I couldn't see her name, she wasn't mentioned because it was literally in the opening in Final Destination 5 3D, falls off the bridge, gets impaled onto a boat, and literally when you're watching it in 3D, the spike comes through the TV and the blood just drips. It's a thing of beauty. I had to pause it because I was like, that's just amazing. That's like art.
Morbid art, but art.
Take notes, Marcus. That's how you kill someone.
Right.
Marcus Shadow, how about you? And
Yeah,
you're
I'm
not allowed
curious about
to
this.
say any of the celebrities that you've killed.
Can you say O.J. Simpson's wife?
No.
Wow. No, I went with Spock from The Wrath of Khan. Because it was done well, and as any of the original cast will attest to, every single movie they felt could be their last movie, because literally every movie they were like, yeah, we're not going to make any more after this, and then be hugely successful. So they were like, okay, now we have to make another one. And so, of course, going into this, they thought this was going to be the last movie. So it's like, okay, we're going to kill off Spock. And they did it in such a way that you believed Spock was dead and was going to be dead. Yet they did leave it. They left something there so they could bring him back if they had to, but it wasn't readily apparent that that's what they were going for. That they even had that in mind. That putting that in there. So I thought it was beautifully done.
Nice.
Fair enough. Richter.
I'd probably go with Dinobot in Transformers Beast Wars. Because I thought that was a really good way to, because besides being emotional, and besides making him look like a badass one last time. It was a good way to like close the character, like his whole arc, because he started as a bad guy and then he became a good guy, but it was kind of like a shaky good guy, like they kind of put up with him, but he still wasn't fully a good guy. And then he actually betrays them for a bit, but then like he uses that for his final moment to like redeem himself. And I thought it was a really cool arc that they had with him. Not the death, like I said, not only was emotional, it was also awesome, and it was also closed the character arcs. I thought it was really well done.
Nice.
Fair enough.
Uh,
I just like to. I just like
my
the idea
honorable mention,
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to say Bill and Ted. Because come on, Bogus Journey was fucking awesome. And they were killed by robot versions of themselves. That's awesome.
Your hole is totally metal.
Anyway.
I would just give an honorable mention to Darth Vader, but only in the context of the prequel trilogy, because with the addition of the prequel trilogy, as Mole and I had discussed a little while back here, what that adds to Vader's death is a lot, and without that, it's not really anything special. But with the prequel trilogy, it's basically Vader coming full circle and actually making the prophecy come true, which makes his death completely awesome.
I say, ironically, I would say the opposite of that.
Really?
I'd say his death's cooler without the prequel trilogy, because beforehand it's like, your father, he was a great man, he helped in the Clone Wars, and blah, 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 blah. And you get a sense that his dad was this awesome dude, and that when he became Vader, he literally died. It was his massive transformation. But no, it turns out he just sold out his best friend a chance of getting in Natalie Portman's pants. Bravo.
That's true. And then, in terms of the prophecy makes it awesome. The rest of it, no, completely ruins Vader, but yeah.
Yeah, the prophecy makes it awesome. But the whole part of it, he died, that's why he's young Anakin in episode. He didn't really die, he just got on one knee and said, okay, now accept you as my master, help me get laid.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. I'd like to add here that Aeon Ryder has chimed in that he'd like to mention the sacrifice of Kendrix Morgan in Power Rangers Lost Galaxy.
Yes.
And alternatively, the death of Zordon in the Power Rangers in Space finale Countdown to Destruction.
I will
what
say
the fuck, he's talking to you now?
I will say, I just got an IM from Richter when you were talking there. Richter said he wants to throw out an honourable mention to Ernie, or Bernie, sorry, or whichever one it was, just because Weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bernie. That was good.
Which one was it? Was that Ernie Weekend at Ernie's? Or was it Bernie?
It's Bernie.
I thought it was Bernie. I couldn't remember. I was saying Bernie, I was like, that's not a name.
Mm-hmm. Also, honorable mention to every time The Undertaker has died.
I'm surprised no one picked Krillin.
You know what you've done, you dick bastard.
Yeah, Krillin. Specifically in the abridged, because, come on, Krillin Pwned count.
Hmm. Yep.
Oh, come on, his death's much, much cooler when it's in the actual proper anime with the Super Saiyan transformation. It's just
that was cool. Yeah.
And it was also one of those few deaths in a show like that just made me say, "What the fuck?" Where it's like, cool, they beat Frieza. Boom. What the fuck? He just killed Krillin. And then I'm like, You just killed Krillin. Goku's like, oh. And the speech he gave was a little cliched in the original dub, but it's still awesome.
Yeah.
And the effects with it's just an awesome transformation.
Yeah. I agree.
Fair enough.
So, I believe the next award, which is Good Guy. Which I was torn between which vampire to give this to.
Mm-hmm.
I decided not to go with Spike. I went with Damon Salvatore.
Mm-hmm.
Only because Spike's one seemed more forced upon him by the government with the chip and stuff, which I really did like. Damon's thing is he actually found someone that he cared for, because he spent years basically torturing his brother because he wanted to make his life a living hell because he blamed him for the death of their girlfriend when they were both dating the same chick. Then basically her doppelganger, which looks just like her, is now resurrected in modern day, and he gets a spark with her, and he goes from being the villain of the series that threatens to destroy the entire town basically because he wants to bring her back to, yeah, he becomes the guy that when he died at the end of season 5, spoiler alert, people are actually like, oh my god, he's died. And he went from being everyone wanting him to get the fuck out of town to being everyone mourning his death. He truly earned his redemption, if that makes sense, and it's a great story. So Damon Salvatore.
Nice. Marcus.
Well, I was trying to come up with a good guy, and it always came back to my favorite hero of all time, Batman. Because he is my favorite hero of all time. So I had to go with Batman.
Nice.
Fair enough.
Which continuity? No.
Nah.
Doesn't matter.
Oh,
Batman.
Following up on Marcus,
It doesn't matter. Wish granted. Batman and Robin.
Hey, to be fair, Batman himself was the best part of that movie.
No, he wasn't.
I don't know. I thought he was the best part compared to the rest of the movie.
Batman is a good guy to go with because he's pretty cool. People like him.
Mm-hmm. I'm sticking with Marcus's theme here. I was leaning toward Batman heavily, and I'm like, yes and no. I'm trying to think of other good guys in other franchises. But as I thought about it, really, among all media, it might not have worked well among a lot of media. It might have, there might have been issues recently, but, there's been a recent comeback. It's kind of a big deal, and even though they're not doing it quite right, in my opinion, there will truly always be one greatest superhero of all time, and that is Superman. He's the most iconic good guy. Yes, people have made a good guy. That's probably one of the first ones they're going to come up with. Everybody's heard of him. Everybody knows the story. He stands for truth, justice, and the American way. Yes, Batman is badass because Batman doesn't kill and he's got his moral code and he's the greatest detective. But people are afraid of Batman. Superman gives the world hope. Superman makes people want to look toward the sunny day, want to believe in a better future and in making themselves better. Superman knows that humanity can, become, better than what it is now, and it can become, a better world. And he's going to fight for that to his dying breath whether it's, the littlest, whatever. What's that?
Oh, sorry, not Pet Shop. Okay.
No. Whether it's the littlest kid or the smallest animal, all the way up to, even super beings that even he hates, he'll hesitate to kill sometimes. Just because he stands for doing the right thing always. And well, something that makes him boring, and I can see how that could be a problem. It's still always great to know you have that hero that you can always count on that will always bring that light and that goodness and that hope and wonder that you're always looking for. So, Superman.
Nice. I would also argue Superman has had some great media.
Yeah, I said he had some bad media, but he's had some good media too.
He's had some great ones like Man of Steel, the original Superman films, the animated series, Lois and Clark.
Yep.
And in the comics, Superman, while I'm not necessarily a big Superman fan per se, if that makes sense, I like him. I mean, it's not like you can just flat out hate him, but he's pretty cool. And New 52 Superman's awesome too, so he's still awesome right now. Loved his relationship with Wonder Woman. Yeah,
I was just acknowledging that there have been some bad things. Superman Returns, Superman 64, so on and so forth,
True. But there's been bad things with almost every superhero.
True. I mean, Batman just got a good video game, about 6-7 years ago, finally?
Yep.
Oh, there we go. So we're going to go over to Marcus Shadow for our final award of the night. Oh, did Rick not talk? Richter, hero, good guy.
Rick.
Yeah, I know. He tried to even out earlier, I think.
This is why we can't have Rick things.
That's true. That's true.
That's not what Rick do.
I think one I would have to go with, I don't know if it'd be my top pick, but it'd be a really good pick, would be Picard from Next Generation.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's like a dude, theoretically, but he's just a normal person, and he goes up against all this stuff. Even, the Q that are supposed to be like omnipotent and everything, and he just shuts them down time after time. Like, as I always joke with my wife, like, you can't even torture him because he knows how many lights there are. A tachyon sweep can't kill him. He's like immortal, but he's just a guy. You know, he just commands a starship, but like nothing phases him. Like, he's amazing.
I like
not even a phaser phases him.
That's right.
Picard is pretty awesome.
Yeah, he lived someone else's life and didn't die when they did.
Yeah, that's how awesome he is.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, Picard is probably my favorite of the captains, at least.
Mhm.
But I will say, honorable mention for me would probably be Angel.
Yeah.
Just because I can't think of any other superhero out there where if they're happy, they become evil. So while they're helping everyone else, they have to constantly stay miserable. It's like, there's even an episode in Series 1 of Angel where a reporter slips him a pill to make him happy, like a drug, like roofies. And he's just looking at it, he goes, wait, what did you slip me? He's like, it's a happy pill. He's like, happy? No, you wouldn't like me when I'm happy. And when he's evil as in jealous, he's fucking really evil. But when he's good as Angel, he will sacrifice himself and everything. He's a great good guy, and it's it's almost tragic too because he can never be happy.
Indeed. Okay. And now over to Marcus Shadow for our final award of the night.
Award number 15. Yep, number 15 to end the night. Bad guy. And just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy.
Don't have to be a bad guy.
Exactly.
And it was hard for me to come up with one for this, so I just went with the first one I thought of, and I went with Ganondorf from Legend of Zelda.
It's a good call.
Nice.
Because, I mean, he's all about power. He's your cookie-cutter villain, kind of, and he's awesome.
Indeed.
Nice.
That is a good choice. That is a good choice. I will give you that.
Over to the Phoenix.
Indeed. I was thinking about it, and I had one, but when I thought about it, I realized that might be Mole, so I'm not going to do it. It might be, it might not be. But I'm going to go ahead and thinking about it. In terms of villains, my favorite villain of all time, I got to give it to Jafar from Aladdin. Because he might not be the most powerful villain, although he was the most powerful sorcerer in the world for a time there, and he is a genie for a while there, although that's limited. He can't kill anybody. But he was just so horribly evil. Like, you know, he knew what he wanted, and in his own mind, he was kind of bettering it for, he thought the world would be better with him in charge. You know, he just thought, hey, I rule the kingdom, that's going to be better off for me, and therefore better off for everybody else. And he knew what he wanted, and he really didn't care anybody else thought that he was evil already. He pretty much said, like, yeah, I'm evil, I want to be the guy in charge, I don't care. You know, I have a target parent, I have a staff that I will control you with. You know, I'll become the powerful sorcerer, I'll become a genie. He was just outright evil, and he gleefully loved being evil. He gleefully laughed. And Jonathan Freeman just sells that character in all mediums. Whether he's doing it in the animated productions, whether he's playing him live on Broadway right now in the Aladdin production, whatever it is, Jonathan Freeman loves that character and sells it like crazy. And he just makes Jafar so gleefully evil that you just have to love it. I love Jafar.
Nice.
And over to Mole.
My one, which I chose just because, I'm sorry, I don't know why I've always liked this villain. Even it's not the best villain in terms of story or plot or anything like that, but I had to go with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Ha! Yeah.
Yes! Just because it's a giant marshmallow man. It's awesome. Now, technically, I know you can't say I give it just to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, because technically you have to give it to Gozer as a result. But I liked the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. He has become sentient on his own in other continuities and stuff. So I went with Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So I like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. He's awesome. That big smiley face as he just comes across the buildings, and it's like, wait, this is the final boss. It's like, really? That's amazingly hilarious.
Also, I'd like to interject. He's also sentient on Twitter, and you should go follow him right now.
Yeah. It's also worth noting, he wasn't actually going to be in Ghostbusters originally. It's mentioned on the Ghostbusters Blu-ray that basically they had him in the script, and the guy, I think it was the producer, was basically, it kept telling the director and stuff, no. Come on, if we put that on the screen, people are going to laugh at this film, be like, really, and just walk the hell out this film. And they fought for it, and they fought for it, and eventually he said, fine, and he let them put it in there. And he said, and during the cinema, the second that happened, everyone cheered like hell, and he's like, okay, I was wrong. And he even said to the guy, I apologize, I was wrong. And I'm like, that's cool. A studio almost made a mistake and didn't put Ghost Stay Puft in there, because I'm sorry, he's one of the best things ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like what I imagine Richter would be like if he was a sailor.
Pretty much.
Richter's probably
Wow.
like, is that a compliment or an insult?
Fair enough. Richter, what about you? Best bad guys?
For best bad guy, I have to go with Kafka from Final Fantasy 3/6, whichever you want to call it. Just because he was crazy and evil, and he pretty much, like at one point there's these 3 statues, and they're like, well, if you move that, that'll disrupt the balance of the world. And he's like, oh yeah, of course, and he just shoves it, like he doesn't care. And probably one of his best lines, besides saying hate like 60 times, is at the end he says, I'm going to build a monument to non-existence. That guy's crazy. Like he was the best Final Fantasy villain. I know, some people prefer other ones, but as my wife said, Kefka is the measuring stick where we measure all villains to. Like, is this guy as good as Kefka? Like, how close to being a good villain is this person?
That leads me to ask, where does Sephiroth fall on the chart of Kefka measurement?
Pretty low. Sephiroth kills one girl with her eyes closed that's praying from behind. That takes a lot of guts and skill.
Mark does that 5 times before he's even poured his cornflakes.
But
he gives Marcus going to be anyone's honorable mention?
Hey, innocent until proven guilty. I don't want to die here.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'd like to throw an honorable mention out to Darth Vader. I think that's relevant mentioning because he's just an awesome villain. Even though he was really kind of a good guy, he was misunderstood. He was still badass as a villain. And I'd also like to go over to the Aeon Rider here, who would like to throw out his pick to GLaDOS of Portal.
Nice.
Yeah. He also adds Wheatley was a good villain too, but GLaDOS had the last laugh. So there you go.
GLaDOS was pretty funny.
GLaDOS was good. All right. Well, with that is the end of part 1 of our monthly best of all and worst of all time awards. Stay tuned next week for these exact same categories, but the worst in each one.
I
Should
just
be a
want
lot
to
of
give an
fun.
honorable mention to Hitler. No, Jim, I'm not on about actual Hitler. I'm on about the one on the Dragon Ball Z Fusion film.
Dude, that part's awesome.
Thank you. See, Jim, we respected your choices.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Although I think in that movie I liked Frieza's appearance better.
So now say it, Jim. Say it. To apologize, say it. Say, I respect Hitler. Say it.
No.
It's a trap.
There you go.
And I will say, yeah, I totally loved Frieza's appearance in that too. Of one hit from Gohan with that power, and it just kills him in one hit. It's like, what the hell?
Yep. Also, if we're a bad guy, I just want to give a quick honorable mention to the head of Richard Nixon on Futurama. Because he's awesome.
I believe Marcus Shudder said he wants to throw out an honorable mention to iGuy.
Ha! Nice.
And by iGuy, he means Steve Jobs.
Okay then. Oh, before we further
That's a
insult the-
horrible pun. I actually meant iGuy, the guy from Power Rangers with multiple eyes.
That was terrible. Okay, well, before we further insult the dead, let's just go ahead and end this now. Stay tuned for next week again when we do the worst of these same categories, and that will be hosted by our own Chris the Mole.
And we'll also say I do apologize. If you're dead and took offense to this, please leave a comment below.
And follow me on Twitter so I can apologize there too.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well then, stay tuned for next week. Worst of, hosted by Chris the Mole. After that, there'll be 15 more Best of Awards hosted by Marcus Shadow, and I will round out the month with the final set of Worst of Awards.
Or,
Those categories.
if it's the final one and there's 4 of us here, why don't we let Richter do the last one?
If Richter's here, Richter can host the last one. I'm cool with that.
With his cool, silky voice.
Agreed.
And that way,
yeah.
it'll finally be a week in which the host validates him.
Mm-hmm. Also, one thing that doesn't make sense though, because can his voice be silky while also sounding bald? Because wouldn't that kind of be an oxymoron?
Not if you shine it really good.
Fair enough.
And turn it sideways.
I'd stick it straight up.
There you go.
A slip and slide. No.
Okay, well, thank you to Chris the Mole, Marcus Shadow, and Richter Hammer for joining us for this little look at our best of all time. We'll see you next week for another On the Pound. And don't forget to tune in to Marcus Shadow, Chris the Mole, and myself tomorrow night for a review of the final of the Amazon pilots, which has had more scripts ordered. It's got a chance. The Cosmopolitans. I'm James Phoenix. See you next time.